Assalamu alaikum, ladies. Welcome back to my channel. I pray that you're all in the best of health and iman. If you are new, welcome. My name is Nafisa. I am a certified relationship and trauma informed coach. I help women to heal after toxic relationship and or avoid them altogether. So if you're interested in being coached by me, you can find me over on my website, or you can also find me on Patreon, where I help women to enhance their feminine side so that they can be the soft women that they wish to be, right? So, ladies, today what I wanted to talk about is finding love after 30. And this is a topic that comes close to my heart because I did get married in my early 30s. And so, this notion and idea that is almost impossible for you to find love after 30 is, of course, not real. But there are a few things that I think that you ladies need to consider, whether you are just maybe in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever, and you're yet not married, and you're thinking, am I doing something wrong? Is there something I should be putting into consideration that I'm currently not? So I hope this video serves you well and that is helpful to you. So without further ado, ladies, let's begin today's video. All right, ladies. So it goes without saying that in the current day and age that we're living in, I mean, subhanallah, Gen Zs, I feel sorry for you guys, because the men that will be marrying you lot, what's going on with their heads? That's the question that I'm asking myself, is what is going on with their heads, what is going on with their minds? And you know what, it's not even Gen Z. I think my generation, millennials, have a lot to do with it, and there are even some older men who are also involved in the shenanigans that's actually going on these days. And I'm talking about this whole red pill, let me just, situation. Yeah, and that's just me trying to be kind. This whole red pill movement, red pill situation, I think is so toxic. There are one or two positives that I can see come out of it, but the majority of it is super, super toxic. And I think if you ladies are not careful, you are going to allow yourself to fall into serious depression. And depression, on top of everything else you're going through, the sabr you're having to have, the challenges, the difficulties, what life is going to throw at you, throwing depression on top of that because you're not married by a certain age is not helpful to you. Okay, so if you are looking for love at 30 plus or a later stage in your life, later according to society, then one of the first things I will tell you is be very careful what you consume. Careful what you consume. It may seem interesting, it may seem provoking, it may seem all of that, but really, is it helping the situation that you're in? Is it really making you a better person, or is it making you to fall into panic? Because for me, I see it as a scare tactic just to get women to rush into marriage, and that has never helped anybody. The goal, at least the way I see it, isn't just to marry anybody, because if that's the case, then you ladies just go take your pick. There's a lot of bunch of nonsensical people out there that you can choose from. But actually the goal is marrying somebody that you are compatible with, that you can do life well with. And although nobody is perfect and everybody is going to have a flaw, literally, sisters, there is no man that's going to fulfill all of your list. I've made a video before about mistakes single Muslims make. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave it linked in the description box down below. There is no such thing as a perfect person, and marriage is going to come with its ups and downs, guaranteed. Are you hearing me? I said guaranteed it's going to come with its ups and downs, right? But for the most part, you want to have someone whom you can do life well with, for the most part, right? So it's important that you filter what is coming in and what you're hearing. On that note, I want to make my first point, and that is that when it comes to finding love after 30, I don't want you ladies dropping your values, right? Your values are those core things that mean the most to you, those non-negotiables that you have. It is important that you learn to keep those, but at the same time, it's also important that you learn to have a balance. You need to be balanced. You can't be telling me you're 40 something, but you're looking for a guy who's maybe like 29, okay? And he's got to be making six figures, and he's got to look this way, he's got to have this particular height, he's got to be from this specific place, right? And he can't have been married before, and on top of that, he can't have had children before, and the list goes on and on and on. But you are of a certain age where you know that most men your age have already had those life experiences. Or most men your age, or the age that you're looking for if you're going for much younger, may not be necessarily prioritizing a woman of your own age. And so we need to be very realistic about the circumstances that we can, accept, or that we will accept, because that's just life. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you're 40 something and you're telling me you need a man who doesn't have any children, and you need a man who, can't have been married before, or you need him to not have touched any woman except for you, like, at that point now it's becoming a little bit unrealistic, because most men at that age have had those life experiences already. Okay, so it's in those things that I'm just saying you may want to learn to be more flexible and learn to be more realistic, right? It's so that you expand your pool, you expand your options of men that you can choose from, because you may have a very good man. Yes, he may have been married before, maybe it didn't work out, right? And it may not have been his fault. We have this tendency to feel like sometimes if a marriage didn't work out, it's always the man's fault, it's always because he cheated or whatever. Yes, some men cheat, a lot of men cheat, but some relationships just don't work out because the two people are not a good match. It doesn't necessarily mean that he is still the same person, especially if he's worked on himself and he's grown. So you may just want to be wise in identifying what were the causes and the reasons behind, the end of his previous marriage. Another thing that you may want to consider, if it's an option for you, for some people this is part of their non-negotiables, but for us Muslims, we know that polygamy is an option and it's a choice. Is that something that you're open to? Because actually, not all women oppose of polygamy. There is also this notion that all women in the West, especially, we all oppose of polygamy. No, there are women in the West who are doing polygamy, and they're quite happy. It kind of actually works out for their lifestyles. So if that's something, again, that you are open to, then that's fine. But you don't have to be open to polygamy. I'm not saying because you're over 30 now you have to accept a man who already has a wife, because that's another scare tactic that I feel some brothers try to use. They try to make you feel like, well, you're already over 30 anyway, so if I'm approaching you and I have a wife, you might as well just take me because I'm the best you're gonna get. And I've literally had a guy told me that before, and I was just looking at him and smiling. I was just like, you have no clue who you're talking to, because you're not going to convince me on this thing. Like, it's my non-negotiable, and so be it. But anyways, if you know that you're a woman who's cool with that, then you want to be open to that option as well. So all of this that I'm saying is coming back to the point that I'm trying to make of, be realistic about the options that you have. Don't be so unrealistic with the options that you have, because that's going to keep you stuck, right? There is the ideal that we want, but then there's also a reality that we have to face. And it's a fine line, because some of us are stuck in our ideal, and we're wondering why God is not just bringing him down for us. Like, this is not Jannah, ladies, okay? This is dunya, and life is life's, right? The term these days is lifing, yeah? And life can happen to the best of us, okay? But we just need to be realistic about what our options are. Point number 2. Don't rush the process, otherwise you are going to fall into major issues. Because you're 30 plus or you're 40 plus or whatever, you're just thinking, my God, he's interested, let's go. Let's get this done in about 6 weeks or so before he changes his mind. Out of panic and out of fear of, what if I lose this person? Let's just get it done with. Now, there's a difference between already having identified that this person is right for you and not wasting time, because that's actually part of the sunnah. Like, if you've already identified that this person is good for you, marry right away. There's no need for you guys to have a year-long engagement because you're trying to have a wedding, the wedding of the century. Like, cut all that out. That's not the most important thing. Save some of the money for the wedding. Maybe you can use it towards deposit for a house or something more important, ladies. But seriously, try not to rush the process of getting to know the man. Take the time when it comes to that and get to know the person, okay? Because if you rush it, ladies, all the reasons why you may have been saying no to men who have passed, or some of the lessons that you've actually learned and things that you were saying to yourself whilst you were single, I'm going to try and avoid that. That is a cautionary tale for me. for me to learn lessons from, to make sure I don't fall into those same traps, because I've heard other people's stories. You are going to end up right into those things. Why? Because you rushed, right? So don't rush. Again, don't rush does not mean you need to be engaged for 2 years. And we're not rushing, we're taking our time because, we got to turn up on our wedding day. Forget all that crap. It's not necessary, okay? What is important is enough time for me to know the person that I'm going to marry, but you will never 100% know them. And even if you think you are 100% know the man, the case will still remain that he could change. People change. People change, and all we can hope and pray for is that the change is towards a positive direction. But sometimes the change may not be towards a positive direction. There is no guarantee. There is always a risk that comes with deciding to marry somebody. There will always be. I think some of us are so scared of that we're just holding back, hoping that we can control every single situation so we are not making any risk whatsoever. That is not a reality. There is always a risk that, what if that person does change? He could be everything I want now, but what if in the future he turns out to be something different? You can't control that. You literally can't control that. So you make your decision based on what you know now and what you see now. And of course, with istihara, that I always talk about, Allah's guidance. And whatever comes to your life or whatever happens to you after that, you take it as qadr of Allah, right? You take it as, okay, this is a challenge that Allah had predestined for me. Because I tied my camel and I put my trust in Allah, and yet still all of these things happened to me. So it was part of my destiny. What can I do? I just have to tackle it now, or when the situation arises, I'll tackle it and I'll ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his help and support and how to deal with it then. But we can't allow that fear to then stop us from moving forward. But please don't over rush it, okay?